Cheers, everybody. Yeah. Oh, Lachlan, what's going on? Did you eat your bed this morning? Welcome, everybody, to, oh, wow. I have 0 viewers, apparently, in YouTube. 0 concurrent viewers. 0 chat. Interesting. Don't know. I hope, oh, there we go. It just popped in. It was like the YouTube studio just decided to go to sleep. Hopefully, we won't have lots of drop frames like we had last week. Sorry about last week. I don't know what happened. We had internet problems here all day afterwards, and we lost internet at home for about 2 hours just after school finished, which is the worst time in my house for there to be no internet. Just when Flynn comes home from school and he wants to decompress. Bad. So, yeah, it was definitely internet issues last week. Different camera. I'm back on my Mac monitor today because I'm going to try to use my Insta360 to do a desk stuff today. So, yes, it looks a bit different. And I had to even tidy my floor a little bit. Not a lot. There's still things you can see on the floor and behind. No, that way. There's stuff there. I'm not like deliberately hiding it behind my chair. That stuff's always there. It's like an extra shelf. The row in front of the shelf on the floor is just another shelf. Okay? To be clear. Just like the couch. If there's something on the couch, it's a shelf. Everything's a shelf. Just saying. Ooh. Fire. It's not warm. Anyway. Yeah, hi. Did everyone have a good week? I had a pretty cool week, interesting week. Ups and downs, as we'll go through. Probably more ups than downs, though, which is good. We'll see. I'll let you judge. And super strong coffee. I don't know if you can see this. This is a half up the street coffee this morning, triple shot, and then a remake downstairs with another shot. I'm caffeining it up today. Light rain, 10 degrees. Yes, it's not so light rain, though. It's kind of heavy. I got a bit wet getting into work this morning. Got stuff to show, stuff to talk about, hub-related, stuff to show, ESP32-S31 related, and to talk about, and got a testing jig I made that I want to show you, which I will in a moment if it works. I just 3D printed something and I don't know if it's going to fit. I have a feeling it won't because I did not size it correctly, but we will see. You'll see what that is in a moment. Yeah, I'll just wait for a couple more minutes for more people to come online. Sorry, I'm all over the place as usual. So it's still the same audio. Should be my Insta audio, just back to my Mac camera. So what's new, everyone? Anything exciting happen this week for anyone?
Intermit Tech says seems you've gotten more excited about the ESP32-S31.
I always was of the S31, not the P4. So the P4, I get it, but it's not it doesn't fit in line with anything that I do and I make, and everything I make has radio connectivity. And for me, having to add that on top of the P4 was just never an appealing thing. Plus the different power rails and stuff. I was always excited about the S31, but I was not excited about my accessibility to it. So it's become harder and harder for me to get access to samples and stuff than it used to be. Some of you might remember they've been around for a really long time, like Bruce and Johnny and I think Gwindor, Alan. I used to get access to silicon really early. I used to be one of the first people on the market first people in, like on YouTube or whatever else to have silicon in my hand. And I'd make videos about it and kind of introduce it, and no one really knew much about it at the time. And then I'd get I'd have first boards out. I can't get silicon off them anymore. I can't get them to ever commit on, they always say they're adding me to a list, but I never get sent anything. I'm constantly chasing, and ultimately, there are Chinese companies that get products on the market with the chips before I even get samples. So it's just been really frustrating. And look, I actually said to them this time around, I said, if you don't get me samples in this batch, then I'm done working with espressive chips. So S31 actually is, or apparently it's in production, and for a September mass production launch. Yes. And I have silicon on the way. I have, 2 different lots of 5 chips coming. 5 I paid for, 5 are samples they sent me. They were supposed to be a month apart. The ones I paid for were supposed to come a month later, but they shipped within a week of each other. But they're still calling them engineering samples and revision 0 chips. But these are supposed to be the samples that have gone into mass production. So if they've sent me something that's earlier than the mass production chips, I'm going to be really upset, because I don't want Rev 0 engineering chips. I want the actual samples that people are going to be buying. And they're already selling them on AliExpress, and that's the whole point. They claim the S31. Oh, no, do you know what the deal is with the Room 1 versus the Room 3? Well, here's the Room 3. This is S31 Room 3. So Room 3 is just their new layout. I believe they will be doing more Room 3. We'll have a look at this under the camera in a moment. Hey, Sean. Rev 0. So the good thing with the S3 was they had no actual changes. I believe they had some ROM mask changes or whatever, but they, the P4 went through a lot of changes with pin movement and all sorts of things they had to keep revising. They went through so many different revisions. Even the S3 went through 2 hardware revisions, but the S31 didn't, which is great because they learned a lot from the P4. So it's less a problem of the chips I'm getting are going to not be footprint compatible. But still, I was told I was going in the sample queue at the start of the year. It's now August, and I still only got these last week and haven't got my silicon yet. It's shipped. I've got the shipping tracking note. It might actually even be here today. So my issue is not so much about excited for, not excited for, is there's kind of sick of going to market on something after everyone else has already got boards out, because they got access to silicon before I did. And, my circumstances with Espressive haven't really changed. Just their dealings with me have. I don't know. You get people, you get, I can't remember his name, whatever his name is at Espressive, who, goes on Twitter and goes, hey, who wants some modules and silicon? And everyone goes, me. And then he just sends a whole bunch of stuff out, right? Before the OEMs get access to chips. Like, that is just insane. And I'm getting really sick of it. So, what would I move to instead? I don't know. I've thought about it for a bit. It's just been a struggle. It's a struggle to get motivated to even spend any time. Look, it's a really tough market right now anyway, for many different reasons. The marketplace is saturated with microcontroller boards and options. And there's really nothing new coming in. They go a little bit faster, a little bit whatever. But there's just too much choice, too much stuff out there. And then there's silicon shortage problems. And then there's cost of living that hasn't been solved by anyone, any country, anywhere in the world. And tariffs and duties and everything else. Like I've had to shut down shipping to the EU, I mentioned last week, because all my stuff's getting, like I had another package got returned yesterday. Not only are these packages getting returned from EU customs with nothing on them that states why, but Australia Post won't refund me. And it's Australia Post's fault that they're getting rejected. They make changes on their website and haven't gone in line with what the EU want for shipments going in, and didn't even mention they made changes. And anyway, so they won't refund it. I have to refund customers. It's just getting a bit of a shit show. So on top of all of that, for me to be motivated and excited about designing new hardware and shipping new hardware is just, but I did. I made an S31 board, which I haven't got it yet. It's at JLC being fabbed right now. I will show it to you. But I made another board as well, a C61 board, which was challenge, which anyway, I bought 3 room threes. Have you got them yet? Or they haven't got there soon? Yeah, I'm going to raise prices soon. We're getting hit left and right for about a year now. Just can't. Yeah, I can't carry it anymore either. I've been subsidizing the shipping since COVID, basically. It's becoming untenable, which really sucks because I've got things I want to release. Yeah. So, okay. Actually amazed they're making silicon at all, considering that all the fabs are focusing. Well, hello, Matt. Or not all the fabs. I mean, you got to remember that the S31, the S3, they're still using old fab process. And 40 nanometer type stuff. So it's the fabs that have got no capacity are the latest stuff, the stuff that they're making, memory and Apple silicon and Qualcomm silicon and Nvidia silicon, AMD silicon. They're not using 40 nanometer, right? But no one's investing in new 40 nanometer fabs either, or 30 nanometer fabs either. So everyone's doing the race. But apparently there's going to be a RAM flood soon. I saw a thumbnail. Anyway, PCs have gotten more expensive. PCBs, the raw materials, ENIG. Oh, everything's going up. And you know what? Some of it's raw material. Some of it is just opportunistic price gouging. It is. Like silicon is becoming a real problem. I was actually looking at, no, apparently there's going to be a RAM flood. Apparently that manufacturing is starting to catch up and there's going to be too much made, just like what happened. Anyway, apparently. I don't believe anything anymore. I don't even believe myself anymore. Okay, let me go back, say hi to folks in the chat, and then I'm going to get started. So Rat Madness was first here today. Hello, Rat Madness. Unexpected heavy industry. No, just unexpected heavy rain. Graham, hello, good morning as well. Quindor, hi. Lockie, hello. Beata, hi. Mr. One Spring. Where's your other spring? You need 2 springs to get moving, don't you? Alan, hello. Mediocrist. Can't pronounce it. Let's try it, do it slowly. The mediocritist. The mediocritist? Mediocrity. Anyway, something. I know you've been chatting on my Discord server as well. Quite keen on the S31. I just made a mess of that. Wayne, hello. Bruce, hi. Johnny, hello, Johnny. Sean, I said hi to already. Matt said hi to. Sid, hello, Sid. Listening while I clean horse stalls. Okay. Enjoy that. Pass for me. In Denmark, we have a new tax on goods outside the EU. Can't remember what it is, but it's not that much. But if the sender hasn't collected it, there'll be a long customs processing. Right, if the sender hasn't collected it, in my case, they just return the product. So, yeah. Okay. Trying to think where to start. Let me start with, hang on. So, dun, dun, dun. Got so much to show. So much. Except, where is that folder? Okay, that's weird. Oh, here it is. Okay. No, not that one. Not that one. Okay, let's start off with. Let's start off with this. Oh no, that opened way too many windows. Close. Close. I've got so many data sheets that just popped open. Close, 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 close. Okay. Sorry about that. So, let's start off with my C61, tiny C61. So I mentioned last week that I'm stopped making my C6 because, well, just because. C61 is the C6, the next revision of the C6. They're continuing with the C6. C61 has a different pin out, different pin position. It's not drop-in compatible on the IC, but it's close enough. And but it's got PSRAM inside, so that's appealing to me because some of you might remember from way ago, what my first version of my tiny watch was going to be a C6 tiny watch, but there wasn't. Wait, why is that's really funny? Look, it's gone to my camera view, not me. Why has it done that? Okay, I'm switching back for a second. Okay, that's weird. Oh well, I have to I don't know what it's done. OBS has got confused. I'll fix that later. So I wanted to make a C60, a tiny watch was going to be a C6, but there's not enough SRAM and there was no PSRAM, and you can't add PSRAM to it. The C61, you can't add PSRAM to either if you use the version that doesn't have PSRAM, but they have a version that does have PSRAM. There's also a new version coming out that's got PSRAM and flash inside it. So, but this is the R2 version. So this has got 2 meg of PSRAM inside it and the 8 meg of flash still. The problem with this board was not enough I/O. So I never changed my tiny C6 to be a Series D board like this is with the dual antenna because there wasn't enough I/O. There still isn't enough I/O on here, but I still needed to solve it. So I've actually put a 4-port, just this chip here is a 4-port I/O expander, but it's an output-only I/O expander. Hello, Mr. England. So it's a special, it's the smallest one I could find. It's output only, which is fine, and I'm only using one I/O on it, which is the I/O to switch the RF because I was out of I/O. I'm so out of I/O that I don't even have an I/O on the interrupt of the fuel gauge. But that's okay because the C6 and the C61 don't have any RTC stuff. There's no RTC I/O. There's no like ULP in deep sleep on the C6, C61. So there is nothing to hook it into anyway to wake the device up. And when it's running, you can just ask the fuel gauge what the battery is. So yeah. What are you talking about? Just move the drive. Guys talking cases. Okay. So anyway, C61 is coming. These are being fabbed. PCBs are being fabbed at the moment. Hey, David Esser. How you doing? Oh, hello, Damascus. Everglades the Third. Hello, welcome. Is this the first time you've been here? I don't recognize that name, so welcome. Howdy.
Intimate Tech says looking moist.
Thank you. So anyway, there's that. But you know, no one cares about that. What everyone cares about is this one. Is it this one? Yeah. So this one. Oh, that's a bit big. There we go. Let me just close this one. So that's the one everyone cares about, right? So on my last stream, or whenever my stream was when I was doing the footprint and the symbol for the S31, and I stuck it next to the Pro S3, and I thought, I wonder if I can fit that in. The answer is no. It will not fit on an S31, on a Pro S3 board. It won't fit on a tiny board. The only board I could fit it onto is the Feather board. So yeah, the biggest challenge is the requirement for the crystal. So unless Espressive make a Pico version in the future, like the S3 Pico, where the crystal is internal, and flash and RAM is internal, unless they do that, which I'm not sure they will, but I can't get it onto a smaller board. So there are some pretty strongly worded design requirements for the crystal for its distance and placement, with a pretty clear warning that if you don't do this, you're going to get oscillation through your RF and you're going to have problems. And I'm just not prepared to do that. So you can't really, it looks like there might be space here, you know, a little bit here and around here. There's actually not. It is Trace City. There is just no space, not even in 6 layers. So, yeah, but this has now gone to JLC as well, prototype boards. And I will have them, I don't know, they're being fabbed at the moment. So S31, 16 megabytes of flash, kind of the same functionality as the S3, but I had to add an extra LDO on here. There's actually 3 LDOs on this board now. There's the regular main 3.3 volt LDO and obviously the second LDO that is tied to the second stemmer port and RGB LED and stuff that you can turn on and off, use a LDO. But there's actually a third one, which is right here. And what I've had to do, because the S31 has a much...
That says your camera is pointing the wrong way.
Yes, we know. I know it's not. It's a OBS have stuffed up my input. Let me fix it. It's really frustrating me. I need to... So I've set up a new desk build, a desk view, yeah? And so I've gone back to my main monitor, my Mac monitor here. But for some reason, my Mac monitor, in this view, it's swapped out. It used that instead. I'm going to fix this now. Just be a moment. What I have to do is, got to do this live, unfortunately. Boop, boop, boop. Yay, OBS for messing up my camera input. Okay, there we go. That'll do. That'll do, pig. So the S31 has a minimum of 800 milliamp minimum, it says, requirement. The original ESP32 and the S2 and the S3 and all that, they all had around a 500 to 550 milliamp requirement. My LDOs are 700 milliamps. I can't deliver 800 plus. And you can't get 800 plus on an LDO that anywhere near the size that I'm using. And so rather than going for another LDO of a completely different package size and whatever just for the S31, what I've done is I've actually separated the digital and the analog So all the digital power rails go through the main LDO, and all of the analog stuff, because it's got heaps more analog requirement, goes through the second LDO. Both of those LDOs are tied to the enable pin, right? It's not user controlled. Hello, Gaston. What's going on? We're talking about S31. So yeah, 3 LDOs on this board now. Those 2 LDOs give me plenty of headroom. It also means I've got isolated LDO for the analog side, which is interesting. Maybe it'll work, maybe not. I don't know. Doing some Ethernet boards too, dedicated LDO for the Ethernet part. Sure. Yeah, I've got dedicated LDOs on the hub, or 2 LDOs, some peripherals for the ESP, one for the ESP32, one for the other peripherals. But, you know, on a dev board like this, which, you know, it's just added cost, right? Everything's added cost, added. I don't even know what the price is for the, especially if won't give me pricing at the moment on the S31. And, you know, they definitely aren't going to sell me anything less than a reel to start with. And it's going to be an expensive chip comparatively. And, yeah, I'm not looking forward to that at all. Anyway, that's the S31D. So I'm slowly converting all of my boards to Series D boards. So no more separate UFL and onboard antenna. They're all dual now. Okay, so now let's talk about, actually, before we talk about the hub, I want to show you something blinding but cool. Blinding but cool. Okay, so I'm just going to go to my desk view. I'm going to just remove this hub stuff for the moment. Hub, and I'm going to show you this. I'm going to show you this, and we're going to talk about my stupidity. Do you like the hanging on tiny S3, just kind of hanging about off the edge of the board on the wrong header size? So it was supposed to sit here on 2 headers, but I got my measurements, you'll see in a moment, my measurements are 0.5 millimeter wrong, and screwed myself. So I had to, I'll show you what I did. And you're going, what is this though? What is this? Well, you'll see in a moment. You can probably just read what it is.
Super chat!
Whoa! Oopsie doopsie. Thanks, Matt. Yay, more coffee. So I had to do this. So thankfully, I was only using that side of the headers anyway. Oh, look at all my flux cleanup. That side of the headers. So I wired them all over to the other side, and then I've got this hanging off the edge now. Seriously, I was devastated when I saw this, or when I found out the mistake. I just need to screw this down. Just bear with me 1 second, and I'll show you what it is for. And it's kind of cool, kind of not, but it's definitely required. Okay, so it's in the right way. So these are my matrix panels for my rack. Oh, yes, Miss Pac-Man for my super house soon, and Undisputed Maker soon. Should be live. Anyway, so my rack, the panels inside that for the display are actually these. And fire, just to keep me warm.
Alan Madsen says looks very professional.
Thank you, Alan. So these boards, see on desk. And so there are 5 of these in a 19-inch rack and 3 in a 10-inch rack. Thanks, Gaston. It'll be, I got my first batch of face plates and cases being manufactured at the moment. An actual proper production run at JLC. They already had an issue with the cases and they had to remake them. So they've been delayed. They were supposed to be here Monday, as in 2 days ago, but they haven't shipped yet. I got a notice from them that they were remaking them. They didn't actually specify what went wrong with them, but not a good sign. Anyway, and yeah, I'm ramping up production of everything else I need. So these boards, as you can see, there's a lot of LEDs on here. 35 by 15, each one of these panels. So they need to be tested before the second side is put on. The second side, once there are parts on the second side, like this one, they can no longer be reworked if there's a problem with an LED. Now, I did have, on the first batch I did of these, I did have some minor manufacturing issues in terms of LED placement. And so even though I was accurate to the data sheet footprint for the LEDs, I could see that the LEDs were kind of being, surface tension. They were being jostled around, and sometimes they were not sitting on the pads properly, or they were shorting. And so I made a custom footprint for them for my second batch. So these were R1s, and these are R2. And they arrived on Monday. I wasn't here. I was on site on Monday. Yesterday, I ran the 5 panels and only had 2 placement problems out of all the LEDs I placed. I ran 5 panels, so a lot of LEDs. I don't know. Well, hang on. I ran 10,500 LEDs yesterday. 10,500 just on 5 of these panels. So 20 matrices. That's a lot of LEDs, right? And so when you run that many LEDs, you're bound to get bad LEDs in the run, right? Not just placement. I only had 2 placement issues. I'll show you one of them in a moment. I haven't fixed them yet. I only had 2 placement issues. But there are some bad LEDs, which again, I'll show you. And so I need to check that. I need to be able to check these and fix the panels if there's a problem before I put the second side on. Because once I put the second side on, it's too late. And so I built this jig. So this jig has got, you might be able to maybe see, pogos, 3 pogos on each, and stacks of power caps, bolt caps here, some chonky caps on the 5-volt inside, and level shifting. So they're being driven by 5 volts and they're being set by 5 volts, and I'm using a Raspberry Pi power supply. So I'm going to show you what happens. But what I did, right, it's when I hold it down to hold them over the pogos, I'm covering this with my hands. So I built this. Let me just unplug this first. I built this to hold it down, but I have a funny feeling it won't fit. Maybe. Yeah. I think my tolerance wasn't quite right. If it's too hard to get on and off, it's supposed to just hold the board down. Let me see if I can, I think it's just the corners. I chamfered the corners, but maybe not enough. It's probably just getting stuck. And it takes about 40 minutes to print, so I can always print another one. Oh, okay, maybe that will work better. Okay, that's better, I think. So, warning, bright. Actually, I don't know what will happen with the camera. Do not know what will happen. But, so in, down. I don't know if that's enough. It's got a bit of a bow here, so it may work, it may not. Anyway, I push IO0. No, I just pushed reset. That was clever. IO0. Whoop. Okay, let's try that again. I think I have a pogo placement problem. Oh. So that is testing all the LEDs. 4 different channels. Oh my god, that's bright. This is 25%, by the way. 25% brightness, these LEDs. Oh, the green is insane. Anyway, and so this shows me if all the LEDs are good, right? And you can see the LED here is matching what it's doing. And so I can check them all and then just IO0 turns it off. Oh my god, I am blind. I looked right at it. So that's a good panel. Let's grab another one. Okay. I don't know how I can, this is bowing too much here, but, okay. Now that's lost connection. I think I might have a placement problem on these pogos on this top left. I seem to have a, yeah, see that's, okay, might just be a bad solder joint. I don't know. Put that on the side. I don't know. So this is how I'm going to be testing my boards, the panels. So sometimes there's a bit of data corruption, but that's just because there's a, if I hold it down, no. Okay, what's what I do with my hands? No, what's happening over here? I know these boards work. It could just be out of alignment. I don't know. Oh, there you go. If I push it up. So I think it's just an alignment problem. Okay, so let me show you what the things I'm looking for. So I know both these boards have, these two boards here have problems, right? I don't remember which one's which. So, okay. So this one here, you can see there's a bad LED, right? Now, it could be a soldering thing. It could just be a dead LED. I don't know. So I need to look into that. But this is the issue that I'm looking for, right? LEDs I can switch. Now, you might not be able to see with how bright this is, but there's an LED here where my finger is, or where it works in blue, works in red, doesn't work in green. There's a hole. So that's a bad LED. Yeah? Blue channel works, red channel works, green doesn't work. It's not a pick and place issue. It's not a data issue. It's just a bad LED. 100% reproducible. Also, up top here, red works, blue works, green doesn't work. Right? So these LEDs have to be replaced, which is fine. They're quick to replace. I wish, I need to solve what the placement issue is on those pogos. And then obviously here, there's either a dead LED here or a soldering problem. I'll have to have a look, right? So both these panels, one bad LED here, bad LED here, and oh, well, there you go. I just found the problem. That LED is sitting half off. Interesting. So definitely a soldering problem. I hope it hasn't ripped the pads. Okay, interesting. And then on this one, again, the light thing, this one's also got a bad, ignore the top panel. It's really just a position issue or something. But yeah, I've got again, a wonky LED over here. I'll have to check what that is. Otherwise the panels are good. So I could just pull them apart to fix them, but then I can't pick and place the backs. And I want to be able to pick and place the back. So, and I want them to go through the oven again the other way around. So anyway, I built this jig. These are very expensive panels to have it fail. Have a bad LED on it that I can't fix. So, as I said, 10,500 LEDs just for 5 things. Used to state a max percentage of LEDs and TVs, yeah. These are, yeah, they're addressable. They're SK6 805 ones. Any brightness is too bright for inspection. Well, I need to be able to also, yeah, the lower I go in brightness, the less color accuracy you get, right? You get, like, you start to lose blue first, the hues in blue, and I need to check the blue actually works. Only placing LEDs, I imagine their pairs are quite fast. Yeah, mine's pretty fast too, mate. You know, not a speed issue. But no, them placing it, there's no advantage to me. A dead LED is a dead LED. If they place them and there's a dead, how are they going to test them? If there's a dead LED, they'll ship it to me with a dead LED and I still have to fix it. It really makes no difference. But no, I'm not going to get JLC to do them. So anyway, I only made this yesterday. And as you can see, I've still got a bit of tuning to do, but I'd love to know what the alignment is on these. Could just be a bad solder joint on one of these pins. I don't know. Or it could be just right on the edge of a pad. I didn't really I should have made the testing pads bigger. They're quite small. I was originally going to use pointier pogos, but they were too tall and they were just going to get bent. So anyway, so I've been doing some jiggy fun, but regardless of that, I'm starting to do all the production work for the first lot of my Pixel rack displays. Okay, let's talk about the hub. This one is the good and bad news. The good and the bad news. Let me just close this. Where's my coffee gone? Need my coffee. Okay, so yeah, I can't have any percentage of dead on my boards. Right? It would be I can't ship a rack, a pixel rack with dead pixels. So, but you know, percentage wise, you're always going to get, hey, Infinite 4K. Percentage wise, you're always going to get bad LEDs on a reel. It's just a matter of how many you get and how often, and it really depends on how many LEDs you're going through. And I'm going through, I will be going through a lot. 8,000 on a reel, and yeah. So the case, I made the case. I made a case. The case for the case. Power. Actually, I might use this power. maybe longer cable. So, as you can see, ooh, okay. Of course, I just unplugged it, plugged it back in, and moment to power up. Website is back. So, the case came out pretty good, but this is in matte PLA, and I don't really want to ship it in PLA. So I actually bought, very cool, haven't tried it yet. Hang on. Found this online. The only place I could find. It is matte ABS. Matte ABS. So ABS is shiny and it looks terrible, and I hate it. I hate the look of ABS 3D printed. And so I wanted to find something that was matte, that was had a higher warping temperature than PLA. The matte PLA looks fantastic. It's honestly, it's beautiful. But with a 45 degree warping temperature, I don't trust that it's not going to warp. So I got one reel of black ABS matte and one white ABS matte. They're the only two colors. Apparently there's a, these guys also do, or are going to be doing a matte PETG. And I was more interested in doing the matte PETG. I'd rather print PETG. But, yeah, so we'll talk about the ABS CF, especially the bamboo stuff. Apparently it doesn't, well, it does look great, doesn't look great, whatever. Firstly, you can't print it with a 2mm nozzle, 0.2mm nozzle. You can with these. That's for reasons I'm not going to go into right now. But it was also more than double the price. And apparently this stuff is really, really good, this brand. And they're doing as I said, a matte black PETG and a matte white PETG. And if I can I'd rather use PETG than ABS if I can. Just printing ABS isn't always reliable, especially for small cases. If there's any warping, it just won't fit together properly. So anyway, that side, whatever, the cases are good. And then if I switch back to here, now you might have just seen before, when I plug a device in, you see see the LED? See, I've got all those things done. I made, where are they? Look at these. Aren't these shit on the floor? Aren't these cute? See that? These are the little inserts that go into the case for the light pipes. So, yeah, they were a pain in the ass to get the little edges off, but they literally, they lock in, slide in and lock in. Now, the ones that are in here right now, I actually hand sanded the tops to make them frosty. So I'll take that one out. I'm going to put this one in. This is a non-frosty one. So if you see here, the way it looks, and if you see here, it probably looks the same on camera, but that, because it's not frosty, you can kind of see the high and low, the dark through the channel. You see that, maybe? Which is just the different angles inside that stem, where on this one, you don't see that because I sanded the top. It's all frosty. You can even see some light shining on the metal just in there. So I am not sanding them. If I ship this case, I am not sanding them. You can sand your own if you want. When I say sand, literally on sandpaper. But even without the sanding, they look great. So the light pipes work. As you can see, this is working. You got device detection, right? Board is off. If I, on the web, turn it on, it's now green. Board is on. If I unplug it, the power is on. It fades up and down, right? So it knows. It's all working. but there's a problem. Should I talk about the problem first, or do I show you some cool stuff in the web interface first? It's okay, just message it out. Now let's talk about the problem first. So the problem is this is working great, right? Detection works, no problem. Yep. Okay, but here's the problem. And the question is this a showstopper or not? I don't think it is a showstopper, but I have a solution. But I don't know if I want to actually do anything with the solution. So this cable here and this cable here. Okay, these are both USB-C cables. USB-C to USB-C, no problem. This one, when there's nothing on the other end, doesn't detect anything. This one, when there's nothing on the other end, does. Because these are RA cables. These have electronics inside them. And because of that, there's right, it's by design, like it's a spec thing, but because of the way I was doing the detection on whether something is inserted or not on the C1 and C2, these RA cables trigger that, but there's nothing on the other end. So that's the bug. Now, is that really a bug? I don't know. It doesn't make any difference, right? It's not like detecting doesn't do anything. You have to tell it to turn power on, turn power off. But I was going to possibly do a mode where if you plug something in and it detects it, then it automatically powers it. See, now it says unexpected maker live. Interesting. Anyway, so this would power that port because it detected it. So here's the thing. This is a fully finished verified board. Everything works. I mean, I'm still working on some firmware stuff. I'll show you some cool things I did before. Type of cable. What about reading the chip and show that? Not possible. Hello, Nezlek Kim. Probably got that very wrong. I apologize if I just butchered your name. Yeah, no, it's not about reading what's on it or whatever else. That's not something I'm looking at doing. Well, I can't because the S3 can't talk to these. The S3 is just a chip on the hub, right? So there's no direct communication. You could do it on your own computer. That's where you have to do it. It can't be as part of the hub. Anyway, so this is fully working, validated, and it works. It works everywhere, in everything, except of this painful the RA cables triggering the detection. Now, I have a solution. It's a pretty decent change in design, though. So, this is the current design that I cleaned up last week. And as you see here, the way I'm doing detection right now is I've got this AND gate, and I'm using the 36K resistors, one on CC1, one on CC2. So I'll use a USB cable, although I guess that wouldn't happen too often. I have no idea. Well, C-to-A won't have this problem. You can't get an RA cable on C-to-A, as far as I am aware. It's a USB-C thing, specific C to, like, it would have to be C to C, I would guess. I don't know. So the way the triggering works, the detection works at the moment is there are two 36K resistors, and they are pulled high because this is using 3.3 volts for detection, not 5 volts. So they're pulled high, and then when the cable, or when a device is connected, it pulls one of the CC pins low, right? And so this AND gate, when it's they're both high, the sense pin is high, which means there's nothing there. And when any of these two are pulled low, the output from the sense is low from the AND gate, and so it's an active low trigger, right? And that goes into an interrupt on the chip, and then the S3 goes, yep, something's been connected, and it works great. But the RA cables trigger it because they require a different voltage, different resistors to make them trigger at 0, but the gap is so small that it would be near impossible. Like, even with, I did like 0.01 tolerance resistors to be able to trigger it reliably, or have it not trigger, but that won't work for a cable that isn't RA. And I can't use two different resistors because that's a divider. So this system cannot in any way deal with an RA cable, right? It just detects it as being there. And that's fine for, 99.9% of its use case, or even 100% of its use case. It's fine because you've either got a device connected or you don't. If it powers a cable that doesn't have a device connected, well, why would you be plugging a cable in without a device on the other end? Like, whatever, right? But I came up with a solution. And so the solution is, so this is an R4, a new revision, and all of those AND gates are gone. No more AND gates. And I've kept the 36K resistors, stuck 10 nanofarad caps on, just like RC filtering. And what's happening now is each one of those goes into an ADC mux. I've got two ADC muxes. Now, basically, I need to be using an ADC on each CC pin, right? I need to actually not just say, is this high or low? I need to read the actual voltage, the ADC voltage, and say, what is the voltage? Because a low for a device being plugged in will be a particular voltage range, like, 0 to, let's say, 2 volts, or whatever. And an RA plugged in would be 0 to like 1.1 volts, whatever. I can't remember the exact values. And so it's not enough. That's why I can't do it off a high or low. It needs to go through ADC. Unfortunately, there aren't 12 ADC pins I can access on the S3. Even if I used every ADC available to me, I would lose half of them when Wi-Fi is running because of the ADC1, ADC2, right? So I don't have enough ADC pins. So what I've had to do is I put all of the CC1s into one ADC mux, and then all of the CC2s into a second ADC mux. So then I only need 2 ADC pins on the ESP32-S3. And what it means is I'm going to have to do a scan rather than interrupt. But the scan's pretty quick, right? So these address pins are joined together. And so when I set the address, let's say I want to look at USB port 2, which is port 1, right? But USB 2, then if I want to look at that one, then I set the address for S7, and that turns on S7 on both CC1 and CC2. Then I can I just read the ADC values in here. And I've got the filtering, and I might have to do, like a multiple read thing, to get an accurate value. I don't know. We all know that the ADCs on the S3 aren't overly accurate, reliable. We'll see how it works. But I'm pretty sure I'll be able to tune this to be able to detect which one it is. The voltage values are printed on the schematic. Yes, but this is based on actual spec. I don't know if this is going to be what I see through the ADC. So you've got to remember the S3, the ADCs are not 0 to 3.3 volts. They're 0 to 1 volt, 1.0 something volts on their standard attenuation. And when you change the attenuation to 11 dB, whatever it is, you get 0 to 3 volts, not 3.3. So the range is going to be different than I'm reading. These are the specs. Thanks, Dale. Thanks, Dale. And welcome. I hope you're well. From my relaxation fund. Dude, I wouldn't even know what relaxation is. But thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I think these values are just a guide, right? I don't know what they're going to be. So I lose the interrupt, unfortunately. But yeah. So this change, so there's basically 5 components and a couple of passives gone. Extra caps at the filtering, and then these 2 muxes on there. So I've done the work, and I've actually sent this to JLC so I can verify it. Hello, Art Daniel. But I don't know if I'm going to manufacture it or not. I'm going to try it. But as you can see here, we've got the 2. Oh, hang on. It might just be easy to do this. Right. So the 2 muxes are here. And they're the 36K resistors, filtering, 10 nanofarad caps. And so they all go to the muxes, which was a real interesting challenge. Now, firstly, they couldn't go on the top layer anywhere, right? They couldn't pass the USB lines. Oh, did I not rematch that one? Shit, I didn't rematch this USB. Oh, well, I think it'll be fine, at least for this prototype. And crossing is a problem because as a digital signal, it's fine, but these are not digital. They're analog. So I don't know what level of noise I'm going to get, which is why I put the filtering caps on. So if you look here, they're all on the bottom until they get to the muxes. So these ones, hang on. So these, right, until they get to the mux. And then once they're at the max, obviously I have to hop to the top layer and then got to go back to the bottom layer to get them all back down to the S3. So, you know, there's a lot of crossing. Sure, it's 4-layer board. There's a full ground layer and power layer in between, but still I'm kind of concerned about the stability of the ADC signals. And, you know, if you look at this, there's not a lot of room for fluctuation if these values are right. So, you know, in terms of detecting between the 2, so I don't want to end up with a false positive on this or a false positive on the normal one. So normal one or the RA. And I don't know what I'm going to get until we try it. So I'm going to try this, but at the end of the day, I feel like the hub as it is right now with this quirk is fine. But I want to know what you all think. Is the quirk fine where it detects an RA cable as a insert? Or does this have to be solved? So, quirk is a feature. Sure. Well, it's not a feature because it doesn't give you anything. But I get it. I get the humor. But, you know, I know it's not a showstopper in terms of functionality. It doesn't change any functionality on the device. It doesn't remove any functionality. But You know, if it's solvable, you know, like it's new parts I don't stock, don't have on the machine, I need to buy in bulk. You know, it's a and then once you're ready, listener, and then once well, I haven't released the first version, so then there's no point releasing 2 versions, right? I think you need to ask non-technical. This isn't a device for non-technical people, though. This is a device for technical people. This is a device for people that want to automate their lab or automate specific things, right? And the device detection stuff visually isn't that important, right? It's a nice to have. At the end of the day, you plug a device in, the detection is just giving you feedback that there's something connected. That's all. It's up to you to if you're going to turn power on or not. Any idea on possible price range? No, I haven't costed this yet. Right, people use hubs to connect devices, so connecting a cable without a device on the end and having it detect it's a quirk, right? Program maybe your own USB hub chip. What? I don't understand what any of that means, Infamy 4K. This is not a hub chip issue at all. This has nothing to do with the hub chip. This is just a detection thing I put on there. Okay. Oh. Focus. A lot of work for something that I would not have thought of. Well, I wanted to see if it could be solved, right? Like, as soon as I saw this happen, I thought to myself, okay, that's going to confuse people. So I wanted to see what involved. Obviously, it being documented and whatever, sure. But it occurred to me that it threw me when it happened, and so it could throw other people. And let's face it, most people don't read docs. You know, even of products they buy, including myself. I'll be the first person to get a new product, plug it in, charge it, use it, without ever looking at the manual, you know? So I get it, and that's why I want to pursue if this is fixable. Then need to use an app. What? I do have an inexpensive hub that I remotely power off ports. I used it when testing USB device boards. Sure. Well, this will be inexpensive. Like, I don't know what you mean by inexpensive. This won't be a $15 Amazon buy, right? Crappy USB, whatever hub. Sure, but it's not going to be expensive. Like, if nothing's connected, nothing bad can happen if you... Right, you can turn power on and off. If nothing's connected, nothing happens, right? So in this case, in my firmware, if nothing's connected and you turn power on, it doesn't actually turn the power on. But again, the firmware is going to be open and you'll be able to make it, program it to do whatever you want to do. So it doesn't matter. Like, anyway, it's just something that came up, and I'm going to see if this new design fixes it. And if it does, maybe I'll just release the files for the new design, but I won't make them. I don't know. Can you use it for general stuff? Sure. It's a USB hub. It's a USB hub, and you can set it to be default power on. Okay, let me show you some cool things I did. Some of you might have already seen it. And some of you may not have, but you've not seen it actually working, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to, what am I going to get? Where's that board gone? Where's the cable gone? Okay, I'm going to plug this board in. See, now I want the desk view. That's really annoying. Turn it the other way around. Okay, now you don't have a desk view. How do I... Okay, just bear with me 1 second. I'm going to now rearrange this again with the desk view, just so you can see what is going on, except that's actually a bad place for it. I'm going to need that screen real estate. No, not that one. What button is it? Can never remember that one. So I'm just getting it nice and close so I can make it bigger so you can see it without blocking too much of the screen, because there's a lot of UI you're about to see. So I'm really curious on the analog routing and how it turns out with the S3. Never used it for more than battery protection. Sure. It's an unknown. I guess we'll find out. Any real operational impact not having interrupt for port detection and just relying on scan? Not really. I mean, it's the S3's in there doing nothing really most of the time. Like, it's honestly, and the scanning can be on a separate inner task, on a separate core, whatever. Like, we're talking about, tens of milliseconds per scan. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. And the other thing is, it's possible that I can use the I/O for the, and if I go back to here, I don't know yet. So these Sense CC1 and CC2, yeah, I put them on I/O5 and I/O8. Okay. And the reason I put them on 5 and 8 is, obviously I can use interrupts on any I/O, but these are also RTC I/O. And although I haven't added any hub goes to sleep and gets woken up from device insert, right, or timer or whatever, the theory was that possibly these can be set to an interrupt. And then when either one of them fires, because don't forget, the default is going to be ADC high, 3.3 volts, right? These are all going to be giving a high state. It's when they go low that it's triggered. And how low will depend on whether it's an RD or an RA cable, right? So this could be a interrupt on going from high to low, maybe, depending on how low it goes. And on interrupt, it can then scan. So it's a digital I/O on an interrupt until it fires, and then it does the ADC scan. So it doesn't have to constantly poll. That's my theory, but I don't know. How do you just transform an OBS without using the number thing? Yeah, you can just grab the handles and move stuff around with a mouse. Yeah. So I don't know if that's going to be a thing or not. Let's go back to here. So this is currently off. No power. Right? It's running off battery right now. You know it's running off battery. The LED is on here on the sensor. This is firing off sensor stuff to MQTT. The port is on. So blue is detected. Green is on. You can see here, blue, bigger. Blue, no power, but detection there. If I unplug it, the blue goes away. Plug it in. It's blue. Schedule on in 15 hours and 44 minutes. What? It's 3:14 and I feel irrational. What? So, when you click on any of these, there's a add schedule. This is going to, what? That is going to be a long stream. What's going to be a long stream? Oh, no. But, so if I click on this one, look at this. See, that's in the way. That's really annoying. Let me close that up. Can we fit it all on the screen? Oh, look at that. Look at this. Holy shizbot. I know it looks complex, and it is, because I've got everything in here for testing, and it's a bit over the top. So, this is per port scheduling of when the port turns on and off. And so, I'm going to, and then this here is a view. Thanks, Matt. This is a view of the schedule. So you can see here that there's nothing on Wednesday. Wednesday, it never turns on, right? There's no green anywhere on Wednesday. And if you look at this Wednesday one, it's actually turned off. If I enable Wednesday, look at all those ticks. We'll get to that in a moment. So currently, it's highlighting this one as the next on time is going to be Thursday it's going to be every 1 hour. It's going to turn on for 2 minutes. Okay. Well, actually, I'll go through all this. I'll show it to you all. It's complicated, but not complicated. Is it way over the top? Absolutely. What I'm going to do, I'm going to turn everything off. If I turn that off, it now knows that the next time it's going to turn on is Friday, because there's no Wednesday, there's no Thursday. The next one is going to be 3 a.m. in the morning on Friday. It's going to turn on. So now it says on in 1 day and 18. That's not right. That didn't update correctly. Okay, it's a bug. So Friday, it's going to turn on at 3 a.m. and then Friday, it's going to turn off at 9 p.m. Okay, on, off, and then off. And this is set to run weekly. Okay, I'm just going to turn those off. So now it thinks the next time it's going to turn on is Sunday, right? This row here, 8 a.m. So it's 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, Tuesday, sorry, and Saturday, right? And again, they run weekly. Let's just do this. Okay, nothing's turned on right now, no schedule set. So what you can do with this thing is, I'm going to go add schedule, right? That's going to be at the bottom, isn't it? Oh, that's annoying. And I'm going to say, you can choose the day, okay? And an on, in this case, on, but I can also change it to on for. So I can say turn on at 8 a.m. for 1 hour, yeah? And do that every week on every day of the week. Or I can say, actually only do it on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Yep. So you can see visually it updates. If I make it every day, you can see that? But I can also set it to be once. It'll do it once on every day and then disable itself. But if set to weekly, it'll do it once every day. And then the next week, it'll do it once every day. Yeah? So on for, they can also do on until. So on for is a timer with a start time. Okay? Starting at this time, stay on for X period of time. On until is turn on at this time, turn off at this time. That's the same as doing these two up here. On and off. But rather than using two different rows, it's the same thing, right? Then there's also on every. Now that looks crazy. So, but what that's doing is every 30 minutes, turn on for 5 minutes, right? And you can say all day or a window. Okay, so only do it between this time and this time. And you can also set it to be once or weekly. Okay, and then there's the off. So you got all these different modes. You can just turn it on, and you see now it's just on all the time. So all these different modes that you can set per port. Now, the problem, and the code will automatically work out when the next one is. So it now thinks it's going to be turned on in 9 minutes, right? Wednesday at 8:30. It's currently 8:21, and this turns on every half an hour for 5 minutes. So in 8 minutes, it'll turn on for 5 minutes. Then it'll turn off for 25. Then it'll turn on for 5, turn off for 25. So you can schedule things, you can make them repeat, whatever. So if you think about it, right now you got, let's say, how many tokens? Not a lot. A lot of this is my code. The thing I couldn't work out. So the UI, the layout here was, I got Claude to do a first pass, and then I made it actually look nice because, again, Claude can't do design. Not in Claude code anyway. So, I mean, Claude can write code and read back its code and then validate its code. It writes UI stuff, and then even if it launches the browser and checks it, it's not checking it visually, it's checking it by reading code. And it just can't understand when things overlap or overflow or whatever, right? It's just shit. But it is good at me writing a layout and doing silly things with duplicate CSS and all sorts of stuff because I'm being lazy, and then saying, okay, Claude, clean this up, right? It's good at doing that. What I couldn't get going is the scheduling. So if you think about what I've created in this list here, all these things, they all have to compete with each other. So if I turn all of these back on, yeah, just these ones, it's got to, from all of that, work out when the next time it's going to turn on it's going to be. And if the device gets turned off and turned back on again, the actual hub, this has to be serialized, reloaded, and rescheduled. And every time it triggers, it's got to then work out the next one. And I could not get that working. I had it working when it was just a straight turn on here. These two here, on and off, they were what I did, right? And they're easy. You turn on and you turn off. As soon as I started doing on for, if you think about it, right now I deliberately don't have any of these overlapping except Mondays, right? But if I was to go this here now and say, okay, on this on every 1 hour for 2 minutes, I'm now turning every day on. Okay? Look at this. Clashes with another entry at the same time. So this one is ignored. Okay? I couldn't get the scheduling right, and it took Claude to find out that I was getting stuff clashing. I couldn't do the maths, right? I'll be the first person to say, was not my strong suit. So Claude ended up fixing this for me, which was great. So where else? Okay, it was clashing with Wednesday because Wednesday I've got an on every as well, right? But the point is, I've got clashing on Sunday now, clashing on not clashing. I've got 2 different things on Sundays, 4 different things on Mondays, 3 different things on Fridays, 2 different things on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and it's got to work out when the next time it's going to turn on is. Okay? That's insane. That's Claude. That's not me. Absolutely not. I could not get that working at all. So, yeah. And what did I do here? On every 4 hours 30. Okay, I've broken something. What? Let me just refresh that. Okay. Turning stuff on. Okay, obviously a bug. That's supposed to be on every... So you can use the scroll wheel, right? Or you can click and type. Okay. Gone back to on in 4. Somehow there was a 4 in here. I don't know what that was. The maths is hard. I remember hating life when I was building a room scheduler many moons ago. It's too complex, right, to work out. Like, I started writing it with just a whole bunch of if, then, like, you know what I mean? If it was between here and here, blah, 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 blah. But it just became impossible. These serialized down, that was easy. I did that. But getting them to actually look at them and work out the next one, yeah, I couldn't get that going at all. So my problem right now is super fancy, yeah, but what's if you don't want to go to the per port level and you just want to do it for the whole hub? I want everything on the hub to turn on at a certain time, everything on the hub to turn off at a certain time, right? So now I need to also add a layer that is hub-based scheduling, right? This is per port scheduling. As you see, no schedules for anything else. But I need a hub-based scheduling. And the other thing is, the whole point of this hub is to be able to automate it. And automating it means not sitting here in a web interface scheduling it. So I've added REST API stuff where you'll be able to set all of these things. Now, setting is just placeholder right now, but reading is not. But I cannot, I need to spin up a, excuse me, where is my thing? Okay, so I wrote some notes for myself. New. Okay, so we're going to just here. So I can see. So I've set up a bunch of endpoints that you can read. Yeah. So I'm just using curl. Right. So this will not work. Why didn't that work? Port. No. Port 6. Okay. I've broken something. Wonderful. These are supposed to return things. Wait, and maybe I didn't flash it. This one. My other one should be set up. Let me just flash this, reflash it. Let me reflash. I've got 2 hubs I'm working on, one in the case and one not in the case. And so I might have flashed the one not in the case. Okay. Bear with me a moment. So using the REST API, it means that you'll be able to use any tool that can call an endpoint to be able to set and get details from it. You see here, the hub knows when it's been disconnected, and it will, when it reboots, it will reconnect automatically on the web interface, I hope. Yep. Okay. Why does it now think it's on in 1 hour and 31? No, on 6 days, 15. That's not right. On in 45 seconds. How funny. Oh, okay, so let's just watch this. We should be able to see this go on. Oh, by the way, yeah, the countdown happens when it gets less than a minute. Where's the... Here we go. So this will go green. And it'll go green in the UI. And you'll see the power show here. And the power up here will show. I hope. Dun, dun, dun. 10, 9. It's like a SpaceX launch. 6, 5. Wow. Skipping seconds counts. Oh, green. Green. We're on. It'll stay on for 5 minutes and then it'll turn off. So, off in 4. How cool is that? Okay, let's now go back to, let's try this again. Hub. There we go. I didn't flash this one. So reset reason. So this is, it's just JSON blob, right? But you got uptime, shows a reset reason, power details. Oh, so up here you can see it's pulling almost 400 milliamps. That's because it's got a battery on this. It's charging the battery. You might see that the charge LED is on. So, oh God, I've got a scrolling problem here. Wonderful. lots of UI flakiness. So yeah, it shows you your power here and your total power up here. So if I plug something else in, the cable. Okay, it's a tiny Pico. Plug a tiny Pico in and turn it on. You see the power's gone up. So it's pulling 144, down to 62. So it did something on boot. No, it's doing something. What's it doing? Cycling. Or is it? Maybe it's boot looping. I don't know. Or is it settled? Settled? Okay. So you can see total power up top, right? And then if I do this hub thing again, it'll give me all the updated value. Humidity, total power, devices, right? State of everything. And then if what happened? I said clear. Clear. If I go to ports, it tells me about all the ports. So port number 1, enabled is false, occupied false, all the way down to port number 6, enabled, right? Occupied, true, fault, false, state, green, tells you the LED colors, whatever. Power, schedule, 8 schedules in there. And then I can go directly to that port and it gives me all the details of the port. And I can also read the schedule. Now, you'll be able to set the schedule. You'll be able to set the power. You'll be able to tell the hub, turn all the power on, turn all the power off. You'll be able to control the hub and control the ports directly and add schedules as well as read the schedules. Now, I don't know how the adding schedule is going to work via API when you've got no visual way of knowing if you're clashing or not. But if you're doing this type of scheduling on your port, there's a problem. This is like this because I'm testing every single feature, right? I can't see why anyone would need to be doing anything like this craziness for a single port, right? So Johnny says he's going to do HA integration. Okay. I'll accept PRs for that. No problem. This thing needs an e-paper display with a QR code connected to the web interface. Yeah, I don't think so. I'm releasing the design files. You can make your own version, and you can do that for sure. Making Home Assistant. Oh, wait. So Matt says he wants to make Home Assistant, and Johnny says he wants to make Home Assistant. I was going to add MQTT, but now I'm not, because if someone wants to add that, they can. But the MQTT stuff, as good as that is or whatever, I'm not sure it's going to be as good as the REST API, which is going to give you complete control. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see how many PRs I get and how many people actually contribute or not. I'm at a point where I'm not going to make this 100%. I'm going to, put it out there and let other people contribute. And if they don't contribute, I'm not going to do it because, I don't need HA stuff. I don't particularly have a use case for MQTT with it. I can see where there could be, but I'll let someone else add that. It's got no over-the-air updates right now. That can be added. Lots of things can be added, and I'm happy for people to do it. So happy for other people to do it. You can install my YouTube live hacks. Or tell you when Sion is live. Well, my rack tells me when Sion is live. But yes. Anyway, send Johnny a unit. Well, I haven't got any units to send yet. Turn that off. So, by the way, that did turn off, obviously, and it's now on again in 24 minutes. So, that is the hub. A few quirks still to do. to sort out. I don't know why it was not. It was taking time to calculate, and it was kept changing its next on time. Yeah, I can't send anything to the EU right now, so Johnny can make his own because there'll be source files. He can get them fabbed himself. Yeah. So there you go. So I've had fun working on the hub stuff, but I've also it's absolute overkill, like absolute overkill. No question. The whole scheduling stuff has just gone beyond reasonable for no other reason than it was a challenge. For the end user, it may add some confusion. What will add confusion, Sean? I do have a corporate address. They actually do the import for me. Not that expensive. Sure, but my issue is stuff's being stopped at customs, and I don't know why. So until that gets sorted with Australia Post, I can't ship it. Well, if people don't think that the RDRA device detection thing is a problem, then I am ready to manufacture these, and I can cost them and put them on my store. As I said, the case is designed and done. I haven't tried printing them in the ABS yet. I'm a bit worried. I'm going to have to dry it and set up a dryer for it. But it works. The case is cool. Yeah. What else? Hey, Johnny, did you see the pink LEDs last week? I don't know if you did. I'm talking about, so I got power. So this is the main power. You don't need upstream. And this is the upstream one if you want to connect to it like a hub, right? But if you want to connect to it like a hub and use it as a hub on your computer, which you can do, you still need two USBs. You can't power the devices via your upstream. Okay, you can't do that. You need to plug a Raspberry Pi power supply in or something. Right. So there's a back button, a user button. There's a back button here. That's a user button. And at the moment, if you press it, it just toggles the power state. So if I press it, it toggles. See, it turns all the power on, and it's showing that there is power. The flashing is power, but no device connected. And if I hit it, it goes off. But if you don't, I'm just going to plug my upstream in. If you've got your upstream connected, but no power, yeah, and you do the same thing, assuming it's booted. I said assuming it's booted. Why is that not coming back? Okay, it's come back. Okay. Then if I try to tell it to toggle the power, what's going on? Oh, there we go. Still booting. That pink, look. Pink. That was for you. So if you don't have power connected and you try cycling power, even here, they're pink. And if I plug a device in, it goes solid pink. Says not flashing. This one here's not flashing, but it's pink. Pink means no power. Pink for power. Plug your power in. If I plug my power in, look at that, fixed. If I unplug my power, pink. That was for you, Johnny. That was for you. And because I had to remove the pink LEDs. Well, I did remove the pink LEDs from the board. They've now got blue LEDs. Remember I had pink and purple down here? But I just went with blue. So that's why I put the pink up here. Okay, so yeah. How crazy. How crazy. So today, after the stream finishes, I need to work out the position of these, work out what's going on the thing, fix those other panels, and then when they're good, do the second side. And when the second side's good, I need to rebuild my 10-inch rack. I did a whole bunch of stuff on the rack as well, software-wise, firmware-wise, but nothing more to show today. Not yet, but I am getting close to the point of having maybe 2 or 3 racks of each type that I can, work out, who I'm going to send ones to, or when I say send ones to, some might be sent and some might be available for purchase. These are expensive. I'm not sure I'm planning to give away many or any other than one at the moment. Anyway, just saying. But I'm very close to being able to cost them properly as well now. So, which has been an ongoing stress of mine, working out a final price for these racks. Yeah. Oh, they look good though. I mean, in on the camera, maybe not so much, but in real life, they look really good. Really good. Been up 2 hours and 23 minutes. Waka 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 waka. Stuck on soon. I don't know why. Lungs makers live. And we lost last week. Boo. $41.3 degrees. That's yeah. I've done a redesign on the back of the case where the fan is. I don't have a version here. That's what's being manufactured at JLC at the moment. But I've redesigned this whole fan section to hopefully get some more airflow through. Is the lowercase g supposed to stick up above the other lowercase charts? Yes. Yes, because it can't go below. So if you notice, there are no under. So it's a fixed height font. And so a G can't go below that because then then it's not a fixed height font. It's going to be a much taller font. So yes, that's how you solve that on a fixed height font. 3 different font sizes on here, all custom made by me. But allows you to do two rows. Oh, someone asked the question on the hub, can you set the host name? You can set the host name on the hub. Right, I didn't mention that. I'm still working on everything, but I'll plug this back in. I forgot to show something else I added on the hub. Wow, so many things. Come on, hub, wakey, wakey. Yep, so there's now a settings page as well. So you can set your Wi-Fi, your location. That's how it gets the time. You can actually turn the LEDs on. You can just disable them if you want to. And then you can set the device name, if you've got multiple ones and a host name. So I can actually go to USB hub.local. It's going to probably want P and hopefully, no? Interesting. Maybe I didn't hook it up. That's really weird. I wonder if that's a Chrome thing. http://USB hub.local. No, it's not resolving here either. Okay, so bug, but yes, you'll be able to set the host name. So you can have multiple of them with multiple host names. Yep. Yep. Okay. So many things, juggling so many things. Wrong window. Yep. All over the place. Shoot, what? Any descender, feel like that. Right, yeah, all descenders, no descenders, they all sit high on purpose. Yeah. Did I mention I made a font? Let me show you this. So many things. So many things. Let me show you this. Catch you later, Daniel. Thanks for joining. Why is it not launching? Okay. Nope. Wrong window. Wrong window. So check this out. I'm both proud and frustrated that I had to do this. Let me just turn that off. So check this. Font editor. I made a font editor for me to be able to build these fonts. Yeah. Did you see this, Johnny? Oh no, you know about this. I've added all extra characters. So there's 3 built-in fonts right now, and it lets me. The whole point is I can grab a font and it shows me I can choose which font I'm comparing it to, right? So my 6x9, I know weird sizes, 6x9, and I'm using my 5x7 as a reference, right? And I can just live change the font and save it, and it automatically updates and rebuilds the fonts. And so this is how I've actually created all the fonts, because yeah, save changes, switch anyway. Okay. So the big fonts, I'm not a big fan of. I might make them bolder. I don't know. But anyway, this way I can create as many fonts as I want, and then tweak them and style them, because I couldn't find pre-existing fonts that were 1 pixel thick. Any of the fonts were yep. Thanks, Dale. You already did a super chat, dude. I really, really, really appreciate it. But yeah. I feel bad. Will you release this font creator? No, this font creator is totally tied to my Pixel Rack firmware. Like, it's literally reading and writing my C++ files directly in my project. when I click save, it rebuilds the C++ and stuff. So yeah, no, I won't be won't be shipping this. Sorry. I've got here, Johnny. See, there's your O ... in all 3 sizes. That was a challenge on the little font on some of them. Like I had to make a little tiny eye to fit the little hat on. The font editor is making me hungry. It's funny. Anyway, yeah. Okay. I think that's it. That's it for me. So many things. I've been just all over the place. Plus client work. It's just been a real struggle. Staying on top of everything, but I'm getting there, slowly getting there. So I hope to have the hub ready on my store and all the files uploaded to GitHub by next week, by next stream. Yeah.
That says cool, you added the expletive characters. Lol.
Expletive. The Johnny, I call them the Johnny characters because Johnny's the only one who ever wants them, but I get that they should be there. It's a downside of having to do custom fonts. What did I miss? Oh, dude, you missed everything, Pete. Everything. Wow. So many things. It's been a packed in stream of information. Information dump overload. And MDS broadcast as well, then HA can detect it automatically. For what, the hub? No, you can do that. You can do that, Johnny. Yeah, all good, mate. All good, Pete. No, seriously, I covered a lot. Lots of hub discussion, hub piece, and showing the web stuff and scheduling. Showing my test jig for these insane boards. Rack stuff, S31 stuff, C61 stuff, so many things. May get a flood of PRs soon. I'm happy for a flood of PRs. Fine. And I'm happy for PRs that include code written by AI. So long as the code, coding style and coding everything else matches the firmware, the existing code and stuff, I don't have a problem with AI generated code like some people do. As in some open source communities, whatever. So I'm not judging. I'm just saying. Anyway, at the end of August, I'll be back and we'll visit for sure. Yeah, awesome. Look forward to it. Any application can auto detect it with MDNS. You're talking about multicast though, right? It's not just MD. You're talking about MDNS multicast for discovery, broadcast and discovery. Yeah, my rack's got that. I don't know if the hub's going to do. I don't know. I'll be honest. Totally honest. Okay, I've invested a stack of time and money to get to that. Yeah, quite a bit. I've invested a stack of time on the firmware so far. Yeah, and I'm open sourcing it because I said I would. I think as a product, it needs to be open sourced. But at the end of the day, there's only so much I'm willing to do on the firmware side if it's going to be open source. Like if I'm going to do the firmware and make it feature complete myself, then what's the point of making it open source? I've had this discussion. I've mentioned all this before, right? If I'm going to have to do, I understand that you can't do hardware open source by committee. I'm not talking about making it open source, but I'm talking about like trying to design this from scratch in an open source project with contributors would be impossible. You'd never get the first design finished, right? But software is different. And if I have to do all the work myself, I'm not going to bother releasing the source code if you want me to release the source code, people have to contribute. So I'm just not going to do it all myself. Some things will be easy to add. Some things will be harder to add. But at the end of the day, you know, there'll be a framework there and people are going to have to contribute if they want functionality. And if they don't contribute, then it would have been pointless me doing it myself, right? So that's kind of where I sit on it. You would only get feature creep. If it was on the hardware, oh, absolutely, absolutely. But I'm happy for people to, you know, if they do alternate designs of this and, you know, and it's like manufacturable, meaning, you know, it's not full of DRC errors and it's going to function, I'm happy to put, you know, have them available as well in the project. You know, if someone just forks it, fine. If people want to fork and then we can contribute alternate hardware versions, sure. Like I know someone mentioned that they wanted, I can't remember who it was, wanted the upstream and power to be on the same side. So all the ports are on one side. That's a pretty valid change if someone wants to do it. I'm not going to do it because, you know, sorry, because what's in it for me? You know, at the end of the day, I've taken it to a certain level and there's now going to be something in it for me. Has to be. Doesn't have to be financial, but it's got to be contribution back. So, yeah. What I need to work out now is how I can get 12 ports. 12 ports is easy, 2 chips. How do I get 2 hub chips to 1 upstream? That's what I need to work out. So if I can do that, I'll tell you what I want to work on next. I've mentioned before, I want to work on a rack implementation. So not something that sits on your bench, something that could sit on your bench, but could also go into a rack. 10-inch rack, 19, maybe a 10-inch version, but it's got a brackets for 19, but still for a 10-inch that has 12 ports and PoE for power and Ethernet for web access rather than Wi-Fi. One upstreams to the other. Does it? But that means I lose one. That means on one of them I have 6 and one I have 5. That would give me 11 ports. Right, if I wanted 12 ports, 2 times 6, I wouldn't be able to do that, would I? Interesting. Because I'd need the out of the first one to go into the other, hence 11. Right. Then you need a third hub chip to get one extra one. Sure. Okay. So I wouldn't mind looking at that, PoE powered, but also possibly just, you know, because I have so much free time, I wouldn't mind looking at a USB 3 hub variant now. What's interesting is if we used PoE, if I used PoE, then I could put PD on it even without using USB 3. Could be interesting. But then, yeah, I don't know. Rack version would be quite cool, especially if it was 10 and 19 compatible. Yeah, there's no point doing 19. Like we're going to do 50 ports, but yeah, a 10-inch that you can put brackets on would be cool. You do 5 hub chips and do 24 ports. We are lucky you have so much free time. Thanks, Johnny. So much free time. Yeah. Talking about free time, I've been awake since 1 a.m. So I am knackered. Oh, the floor is calling to me right now. Sleep on the floor. If I had a pillow here and a doona, I probably would, you know. I'd probably take a nap right now. Yeah. Just couldn't stay asleep last night. Shocking. I think I'm getting sick. I think I'm coming down with something. Okay. Anyway, Oh, look at that. It's turn the port on, but there's nothing connected. Schedule. Woohoo! Okay, I'm going to go. It's been 2 hours and 22 seconds. Not that I was timing it. Thank you, Matt. Is that you just did 2 as did you do 2 as well? You did. Oh, I feel bad. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to go get caffeine, except it's freaking raining. What is it with Wednesdays after my stream? It's pouring outside. And like, there's just something wrong about getting in my car and driving 1 minute up the road to get coffee when I would walk normally, but it's just, I'll be drenched. Tony, hello. Pillow and a blankie. Nah, it's the other Matt. Right. Okay, well, thank the other Matt for me as well. Thanks to both Matts. Both of your alter egos. Yeah. Matt 1 and Matt 2. Hope you're well, Tony. Yeah, okay. I'm going to go. Have a great week, everyone. Sorry. I'm really scattered. Sleep well. Have a siesta. I normally don't like sleeping during the day. I feel shit when I wake up. Like I feel like I've been hit by a bus when I wake up. But today might be the day that I have a snooze at work. I don't know. It's looking enticing. But if I'm going to, I don't want to go get a coffee either. So if I get a coffee and get all buzzed up, I'm not going to be able to sleep. Whatever. Bye, everyone. Take care. Have a fantastic week, and I'll catch you all next week. Cheers.